I have a friend named Michael Horton who said this. He said, we don't know what to do with the inevitable death we face under the sun. But by avoiding the question, by suppressing the question, we deprive ourselves of the comfort that comes from the answer. When we try to avoid thinking about it, it's one of the great modern trends I see. Even today, when people talk about funerals, nobody likes to even talk about funerals. We don't even use the word funeral. It's uncomfortable. We don't want to talk about death. Let's talk about the celebration of life. Now, listen, if you organized a celebration of life for a family member, no harm, no foul, okay? But it is, I think, insightful to look at even the change of language over the years. The ways we try to avoid the inevitable, what we know is coming. We don't like to talk about death. I mentioned last week that there are lots of preachers and motivational speakers make a fortune telling people that it's good. You can reach your potential. It's all good. Don't think about the bad stuff. Don't worry about the bad stuff. Don't worry about that stuff. Don't even look at it. It'll bring you down. Think positively. Think about your potential. We just don't like thinking about this stuff. Well, the writer to Ecclesiastes is not going to let us get away with that nonsense. He is sticking our nose in it. Because, as Horton said, my friend said, by suppressing the question, we deprive ourselves of the comfort that comes from the answer. So, what's the solution? What do? We can't control times or seasons or outcomes. We're all going to die one day. What does any of this matter? We live with that. The passing of time is painful. So what's the solution? What do we do? What's the answer? We can't escape the fact that our ability to control things doesn't last. And the reason is because, as the writer says here, God has put eternity into our hearts. In other words, God has hardwired a sense of forever inside all of us. Life under the sun is not all that there is. And somewhere down deep inside all of us, we know it. Deep down, we know it. There is this haunting sense of forever that God has hardwired inside all of us. And if all we look at is time under the sun, and we ignore eternity, then we end up trying to cope with nothing but losses our entire lives. This helps me. It helps me for a variety of reasons, because when I think about moments lost, moments past, times that I can't go back to, but if all we look at is time under the sun and ignore eternity, then we end up trying desperately to cope with nothing but losses our entire lives. If I'm always worried to lose something or lose someone, I'll squeeze it to death. I'll suffocate the very thing that God gave me to enjoy in this moment. But when we realize that this world is not all there is, and that the end of our time here is just the beginning of forever, then we're free to let time pass without feeling like we've lost something forever. We're free to enjoy the time we have. Someone once said, and I think it's true, that death is less of an exit and more of an entrance. In other words, the passage of time gets us closer to home. a deep sense of belonging that we can only experience in bits and pieces here and now. The passing of time gets us to where we were ultimately meant to be.